back at Peppermill, vlog number 94. Thanks for joining me. There was no one around here on the second floor, so I'm going to demask for just a second. So, 25% capacity being allowed now in casinos with COVID-19 spreading quickly. I'm not going to, as I said before, criticize anyone for deciding not to play during these times or deciding that they're still going to play. I think with the mask being worn and the plexiglass, I think the risk isn't exactly astronomical. I gotta be honest, I'm not really sure how casinos can enforce 25% capacity, but I understand that the governor has to do something, so that's where we're at. As far as me, well, as you know, it's been a brutal couple of months. So booking a win today would not suck at all. I buy in for a hockey puck and we are off and running. After folding every hand for the first hour, I looked down at 5-7 of diamonds under the gun +2 and decide I'll play a hand of the day. I make it 25 over an OMC's limp and he makes the call. So with 55 in, it comes 6-7-8 with 2 clubs. He donk leads for 55 for full pot. With a pair and an open-ender, folding doesn't feel like an option. So I make the call. And with 165 in, the turn's the 10 of clubs. He bets for 100 here, leaving me little choice but to get out of the way, despite not really thinking this OMC would lead with the flush draw all that often. Later on, we get a limp fest, and I'm in the blind with ace-queen. I squeeze to 40 and end up picking up 2 callers. So with 140 in, the flop comes queen-7 deuce rainbow, and I elect to try for the check raise, which, as a traditional Chinese proverb states, you can only do when your opponent bets, which in this case one does. He bets 75, and I raise him to 175. It folds back to him, and with only 150 left, he elects to fold his hand, which I must say surprised me. Next hand, I pick up ace-king, early position, and raise to 20. I get 2 callers. So with 65 in, it comes king 8-7 with 2 hearts, and yet again, I opt to go for the check raise. I check, and the low jack bets for 50. Folds back to me, and I decide to min-raise it to 100, knowing how light this particular opponent is capable of betting, as you will see momentarily. So he calls, and with 265 in, the turn is an offsuit jack. I bet 150 here, and he folds 7 deuce of spades, face up. Next hand, I pick up kings under the gun +1 and make it 20. The button, a super OMC, makes it 80, and I just call here, which I think is the right play given how much he will overplay queens or jacks on dry flops, and I obviously don't want him to put me on kings. So with 165 in, it comes 9-8-4 with 2 diamonds. He bets 200 of his remaining 400, and I put them all in. He bitches for a minute, which I loved, and then he calls, which there was a 100% chance of happening. The board runs out very dry, but it doesn't matter, as he shows the other 2 kings for a split pot and a bit of a slow roll. My reads on OMCs are usually pretty good, but not always, as I lost a pot shortly after that with pocket 8s to a 93-year-old man who limp called with jack 6. Sometimes you just can't predict this game. Later on, I pick up ace-jack of diamonds under the gun and raise to 20. I get a call from a VIP +2, so with 45 in, the flop is ace-8-8 with 1 diamond. I bet 30, and he makes the call. So with 105 in, the turn's the jack of hearts, and I bet 35, and he then raises me to 100. Now, knowing how he plays, I don't see a great argument for laying down top 2 here. So I make the call, and with 305 in, the river is a 6, and I check. He bets 100 more here. And I decided to call, which I immediately knew was a mistake, given that he wouldn't value bet an ace here, and his bluffs are sized larger. I talked myself into it because it was 100 to win 400, which is a line of thinking that has rarely gotten me anywhere over the years. Anyway, I made the call, and he shows the OCTO crab. That's 8-3 for the win. Later on, we get a $15 open under the gun, and he gets 3 calls. I pick up ace-jack and the hijack, and figured this was a perfect squeeze spot. I make it 75. Original raiser ends up calling, as does the aforementioned 93-year-old man. So with 270 in, the flop is 10-6 deuce rainbow, and it gets checked to me. I opted to try and give myself a decent price on my bluff here by only betting 110, and given how I've been running of late, I must say I was somewhat surprised when they both indeed did lay their hands down. I change seats, and then we get a few limps, and I decide to overlimp 6-3 of hearts on the button. So with 20, the flop comes 5 of hearts, deuce of hearts, 6 of diamonds, top pair, and a straight flush draw for me. It gets checked to the hijack, and he bets 15, and I raise him to 50. He thinks about it for a minute and calls. So with 120 in, the turn's an offsuit queen, and now he checks. I fire 90 here, partially because I have a straight flush draw and a lot of equity, and partially because I think I can get him off a better 6. That doesn't work. So with 300 in, the river is the deuce of diamonds. And now, he comes out and bets 130. This just makes no sense. If he had flopped a big hand, surely I would have heard from him earlier on a draw-heavy board. I do block a lot of flush draws, but there are still plenty of others he could have here. I didn't actually think too long with this. I pretty quickly made the call with just a pair of 6s, and he says, good call, showing 7-8 of spades for a missed straight draw, and we take down a $560 pot. Then we get an early position raise and a call, and I pick up the OCTO crab. This is obviously not a smart play, but for the sake of this vlog, I decided to say fuck it. It's time for me to win with this damn hand. The policy has been, I cannot win with it, and I can't beat it. Well, it's time for that to change. So I 3-bet the OC to 40. And both guys call. So with 120 in, the flop comes Jack 9-5, all diamonds. It gets checked to me, and without even a diamond, I figured my adventure here was over, and I check it back. The turn's the deuce of diamonds. So 4 to a flush on the board, and again, it gets checked to me. This time I have to fire. It would be criminal of me not to. I bet 80, and both guys fold. And for the first time, I am victorious with the OCTO crab, which might have been the highlight on what was pretty close to a break-even session. Checking in from a different part of the building here at Colo 8. These news stations, they always rebranded themselves. Right now it's Colo 8 News Now and has been that way for probably 15 years or so. But the old Colo 8 logo still lives in this one room in the building. For those of you living in Reno back in the 90s, if you're watching Jeopardy or something on ABC, you would have seen this old logo. News Channel 8, as it was referred to as back then. Anyway, work's been going well for me, shooting Silver State sites and anchoring the weekend shows, reporting during the weekdays as well. And on Thursdays and Fridays, I've been playing, of course, at Peppermill. I do apologize for the lack of diversity in terms of places I have been able to play of late. I mentioned I wanted to go to Sacramento, but one reason or the other keeps popping up to prevent that from happening. Hopefully, it will happen soon, as I really want to vlog at Thunder Valley I really think that room is one of the nicest poker rooms in the world, the one time I was in it. So, hope to do that soon. As far as things for me, obviously, it's been just a rough year. Man, I feel like I can't get anything going. And I don't want to sugarcoat it. I want to tell you guys that, I'm just winning all sorts of money when I'm not doing it. And it's been close to a break-even year for me, and I never thought I'd say that. Hopefully I'll have a good December and finish up strong, but you never know. And I know that I've run worse this year than I ever have before, but I've also, made mistakes. I got to take ownership of that. One of the things that's happened too is I've wasted a lot of the times I've run good on days I'm already running good. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, here's the thing that's always applied. When it comes to image, its importance should not be overstated in poker. And image is a result of winning and losing, not how loose or tight you actually play. Now, one advantage that I've had over the years is I've never looked at it that way. I've been pretty good at looking at guys and realizing how loose or tight they are and acted accordingly. But a lot of people just see the guy who's winning a lot and just assume he's always going to have the best hand and just fold too much. And a lot of guys diversely think the other way around. They think, well, this guy can never win a hand. I'm going to give him action with 7-4 offsuit because I'm assuming I can beat him because everyone's been able to beat him. So it just seems like it's been this year with me where a lot of the times where I've made my big hands have come on days where I'm up on the day, and therefore it's been tough to get action on those big hands. Whereas on the days where I'm losing, where I am in desperate need of hitting a big hand, and if I were to do so, I definitely get paid off, well, those are the days where I'm just missing everything. So it's kind of a weird form of run bad too. But there's no question that my opponents have improved. Just in a general sense, my opponents have gotten better. And I, too, have to improve. And one of the ways to do it, I think, is with image. Got to play longer on days I'm winning and play shorter on days I'm losing. That's something that I've done a decent job of, but not good enough this year. And I've got to do better at it next year. By the way, as a closing note to this vlog, I usually think that memes are kind of dumb. I mean, occasionally you find a good one, and I gotta be honest, I did find a good one. Check it out. I know this applies to a lot of you guys watching, and to some of you, with just one exception. Your girl is simply not that hot. Thanks for watching, I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe buttons and follow me on Instagram @BenBeach. See you next time.